Chodan zoge jonana chancho bardo dani kyapsu chi dagi chinso kepe sonam ki Rumbo jo Chodan zoge jonana chancho bardo dani kyapsu chi dagi chunye kepe sonam ki Rola penjes Rumba jo Chodan zoge chonana chancho bardo dani gyaso che dagi chunye kibe sona
Rola Banje Sanje
Rumba jo
Odang Lame Medame Manje Wombodang Jajan Lodong Chunje Jola Jama Jama Sanje Zomba Rabdo Jejen Deve Jo Jova Deda Tamje Tamje Chunye Jen Je 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 Laye Gyanan Ludan Nyujin Ge Devon Dada Niye Gyanan Roa Gunja Dana Jadamba Tamje Gyadon Tage Chudan To Lama Lodan Tongan Doje Jang Yapse Juba Jeben Doje Dada Loju Jeba Tadagi Shiju Chudan Jeba Jinje Lo Oda Denema Shubina Sumba Tomo Maiba Doje Tibala Lapsu Shubayina Tomo Maiba Doje Tibala Lapsu Shubayina La Nanyama Shaba Nanshingi Shibu Chungjingi Lama Tene Ngenjong La Nyongwa Tembana Ngenjong Nyongwa Tem Ngenjong Nyongwa Tem Dene Ngenjong Nyongwa Kala Gangzangji Tensona 아니 지부 침별 랑라 때니 장주 선종기 담바 돼서 냠솔래 냠솔래 용한테 온도 세제
I make request to Lama Losantu and Dojichan along with the spiritual sons and the lineage Lama. Please bless my continuing, the continuing of my disciples who might become Dharma. Now we are at the third subject, the training in the uncommon path of the secret mantra. As I have explained before in the past years, you first should seek to generate and stabilize the experience of what we call renunciation based on the gradual meditations as explained in the individual small and intermediate scope. Once that is achieved, once you have achieved the actual experience of renunciation, then you should seek the training of bodhicitta, the training in the path of the bodhisattva, in the actual Mahayana path, by way of training in the special instructions on bodhicitta, and eventually seeking the realization of bodhicitta.
Dene Janju Senjong Ane Nyamne Jajane Do Sejane Nyonga Tamba Yina Dene Ni Zama Tomba Ni Kutulia Nyonga Tamba Ji Nyabado Gugure.
And while you are training in the Mahayana path, in the Bodhisattva practices, and you're seeking to generate bodhicitta, that also should be combined with the instructions that we've been seeing in the last few days, on emptiness, on realizing emptiness. That has to be done.
At the end of the day, 신의 댄스네 송대 아니 동반이야 아니 고마차기 봐도 아니 정말 강갈로 가르래서나 단대 도모남자 너도 주변에 대화 근주 조주 도제티 계산 주변 용어 담바데 달라니도 더버 진절로 손에 도모남자한테 녀리 신의 댄스네 송대 아니 yelani kabato tomonan.
And while you're training in the graduate path to enlightenment, beginning with all the graduated meditation, the graduated path that consists of all the meditations, beginning with the correct way of relying yourself to the spiritual teacher, up to the union of calm abiding and spatial insight. All these meditations should be gradually, you should train gradually in all these meditations and eventually achieving each of them, the realization of each of them, and moving to the next one. While you're progressing through the practices of through these practices, that beginning with the correct way of devoting yourself to the spiritual teacher, up to the union of the spatial union of calm abiding and spatial insight, this is called training into the common path. As in a verse of the Sharlamrim of Rinpoche, having become a suitable vessel on the basis of the common path, please bless me so I be able to travel the path of all the fortunate, the uncommon path of the secret mantra. So it is on the basis of having achieved the common path, and one eventually enters into the secret mantra path. Point is that if you hurry up in the practices of the common path because you want to enter and practice as soon as possible the secret mantra, that's not going to work. It will be totally meaningless. You are not going to have the experiences that you're seeking for. Before the actual practice of the secret mantra, the common path has to be achieved. Otherwise, all those results that you expect from the secret mantra won't come about. And if you want to summarize all the practices that comprises the common path, that is the three principles of the paths, that is renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness. Those are the results you should be seeking to achieve. And once you have a fairly good experience in the realization of the three principles of the path, then you must enter the secret mantra.
아니 남조선은 영화 야보 저 전에 상하는 주가 있나 아니 상하기 뉴체 강걸로 뉴에 상하디 뉴버라 뉴체 강걸로 남조 남성 그때.
And because the point is that although we call the secret mantra the swift path, what makes it swift is not it itself. It is because the practitioner has traveled previously through the common ground, through the common path, that is renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness. Those are three realizations that make the mantra, the secret mantra, being swift.
고말을 때네 아니 상하기 냠내 강다 강전에 대바신 비추선로 아니 동반이 그 되면은 아니 소바고 쇼다 사바담 소바바 쇼다 하는 가슬 라파전에 아니 지 카길라바잠 레마도 삼로동야 매대가 다들 캔 타부 차지요.
And so therefore, if you enter the practice of the secret mantra on the basis of grounded experience on the three principles of the path or the common path, one or the other, they're the same thing, then you're going to have a very good experience in the secret mantra. It makes it perfect. Why? Because by possessing bodhicitta, whatever practice you engage in the secret mantra, that becomes Mahayana path. And also, you need a definitive understanding on emptiness. Otherwise, even just when you're in the process of practicing your sadhanas, you go through so many times on Sobhava Shuddha Savadama Sobhava Shuddha Ham Tompani Tugyur. That means, okay, everything becomes emptiness, is in the nature, and so on and so forth. If you don't have a realization of emptiness, no matter how many times you repeat on Sobhava Shuddha Savadharma Sobhava Shuddha with your mouth, it's going to be exclusively words, and your mind is not going to be able to think properly in accordance with the words you're reciting. Therefore, the realization of emptiness is indispensable in order to practice the secret mantra.
Sanje Juden to Jumba de Mambo Yore, de Yin, Sangaji Chu Tamba de Tatanta Jawasha to the Tambakishu, the Lichi Tare. On Dene Ta Sanje Juduma Yimbano, or the Lady Sanje Muba, Sanje Mube Kabli, Sanga Tambachi Tagris. On the long den and the Telegi or Mato, and Sanga Tambati, and Shira Taya Yamari. Sanji Muvali, Muva Penny, Sanga Tambataya, the Kendesresana, Sanji Muva de and Dire. Jiram Chingi, Mamban, Mambadova Sanji, Kale, Sanji Muva. Gekone, Mambatova Sanji Lugiori, Tende Yenza, Jiram Bachente Sanga Lipe, Hajangi Chivo Yeva Yenza, and Dick Kali Tamion as any. What Tende, the Sabajan Shegi.
And there are countless correct reasonings why it is indispensable for us eventually to enter the secret mantra, what we call Sangha in Tibetan, that means secret mantra, what we call Tantra as well. However, the secret mantra is something extremely precious. It is more rare than the coming of the Buddhas. For instance, among the 1,000 Buddhas of these fortunate eons, and there are so many Buddhas come in the past, the only one that up to now has taught the secret mantra path is Buddha Shakyamuni. And in the debate courtyards of the monasteries, there are debates about who will be the next Buddha who's going to teach Tantra, or will there be any Buddhas among these 1,000 of the fortunate eon who will teach Tantra. And because one of these Buddhas, Sangye Mupa, it is going to be an emanation of Rinpoche, and because Rinpoche has written and emphasized and taught so extensively on the secret mantra, that in the debate courtyard there are some discussion that might be the Buddha who will teach Tantra, the reasoning being because being an emanation of Rinpoche, and because Rinpoche has been emphasizing the secret mantra so much, and yet we cannot be sure. Therefore, having the opportunity of practicing the secret mantra is so precious and is rarer than meeting the Buddhas.
And
And right now, it wouldn't be good for me to elaborate further on the secret mantra, because among you there are many people who have received the initiation, who have entered the mandala, but many who haven't. So I'm going to stop here for this matches for the secret mantra.
Yenju member Jede. Ani doing over here, loves the ship over Yenju
long. So now the second of this point is how to ripen others' mind or others' continuum by training oneself in the four methods of attracting disciples.
Doing over here to do Jimba, Nyamba Mawa. Don't tumba, one day.
So there are there are four types of means of collecting or attracting, and that is generosity, pleasant speech, beneficial conduct, and sameness of purpose.
Dande shung kangi tembaresana. Jedon Jangung Song, Jedon Jangung Song, Dode Jan. Jin Song Tedun Ling Ju Tang, Dani Jison Junanji, Nyamba Madan Tunjutan, Tuntun Yinton Davayin Song. Jimbache, Nyamba Mawache, Tunjuache, Tuntumba Yede, Chu Shangan Soki. Da Sabda Jan in Yanjure.
So these particular instructions are of particular benefits to those among you who are engaging in teachings practice. Therefore, those of you who are in a position of giving teachings to others, listen carefully and try to practice these four means. The root of this sort of the root quotation of these four means of benefiting others, it comes from the Mahayana Sutra Lankara, the ornament of the Mahayana Sutra of the protector Maitreya. Generosity is understood to be the same. Pleasant speech is to teach them. Beneficial conduct is causing them to be practiced or causing them to practice. Sameness of purpose is adhering to them oneself. That means what you teach, you practice.
Jiangchu Samba Namji, Ani Sinjan Yanju Tunjavaliya, Ani doing over here the Madam.
So generally speaking, these four practices are one of the pillars or the most indispensable practice for those bodhisattvas who are engaging in benefiting others directly.
소소 제와남 장주 선바 남지 소소 제와남 아니 타베 남리 라라 제비 체도 아니 토마 아니 지 짐바 세드 토마 짐바 라라 제비 체도 아니 짐비 고아체 짐바 다는 고아체 아니 단대는 소란데 개고 마도 페네바이나 샤조란이 있나니 다 진병고 제야데 개첨벌에 고아제 진바 온도스레.
So the first, that is generosity, those bodhisattvas who are engaging in benefiting others directly in order to induce ordinary beings into the practice of the path, or in order to lead them into the path, first they attract them by means of gifts, of material gifts, and that is the generosity that we're talking about. Practice of generosity in general is extremely important. In the Eastern countries, it is common use. It is considered something very important. Is highly admired. I don't see that in the Western country that much, so this is what it is. Like that. L'altro sono niente ma sono no
jimba nyamba mawa ani ji loma so ge lamrim gombe kabri yana ani ji lame ji yen zomba temba samje ge ani ji chula ko vi chata ani ya yen zomba re samba na tende jani gom ya ge tuso yongre tende yongre.
So then the second one is pleasant speech. So the teacher, the bodhisattva, in order to lead the disciple, the ordinary beings, into the path, explains to them, expounds the teachings with very pleasant speech and smile, to the point that when the teacher smiles in the mind of the disciple, arises this admiration and this joy that the teacher has smiled to me, has smiled at me, and that connects in that way.
Ani mebata sambe ani tamma jure mebata samba kurangi londo da samba ge ani tamhe jure
and
na kolia ji jangju sembe domba da ju go yu san digre jangju sembe domba du sanje mi jabare de ngaba do shogore da sene do sihe ani sota ge domba shogore sana bana jamro da ji domba shogu yene jamro domba jana da dande jamro de sanje mi jabare dande ngaba do gunge shimbe jire sene ba ndeshe ta jani ani 고랑이 묘바다 튀엄바제니 난주래 다가 내신기지 자모동베니게 되는지 이샤라지스나 단데 인데 세베 자와줘제리야 아니 동바니게 되면나 리탑다니야 말이 되게 인도 딩에 강신신지 셰초 저랑게 야원이 아시아가 산다고 된데기 강라 강되기 고랑 묘바다 튀엄바게
And the most important thing is that the speech of the teacher should speak in a way that it is in accordance with the listener's attitude, wishes, and desire. For instance, how this happens is that, for instance, there are individuals who might come over to a teacher and say, I wish to receive the bodhisattva vows, and then the teacher answers, "Oh, this is excellent. It is extremely important to have the bodhisattva vows. The benefits are such and such," and sort of inspires, is open to the disciple and inspires the wish of the disciple further on. And someone comes over and says, I wish to take refuge. Again, you do the same thing. The refuge is extremely important, is the foundation of all the practices, of all the vows. The benefit of refuge are such and such. I will definitely grant you refuge, and so on and so forth. Or someone comes over and desires to receive teachings on emptiness. That's really important. The emptiness, and with the understanding of emptiness, is the soul. Sword that can cut through the root of cyclic existence, and for sure, absolutely, I will explain to you emptiness in accordance with whatever I understand and whatever are my capacity, and so on and so forth. So this is the way of being in harmonious with the desire and the wishes of the disciple.
아니 랑게장 얘는 제다 근데 시계기 연에 소속의 냥솔련 통행지 마도 라마 고랑게 라마 얘나 가리에네 최생에 되게 소속의 간주만 준지 아니 연달이 야 예제고래 매제고래서는 마부시 어디를 잖아 가진 전에 로마서 아니야 토치야 년가요.
And the sameness of purpose is that whatever the teacher or the Lama teaches should also practice, just as he teaches. So this is extremely important. Otherwise, there is a situation in which there is a Lama or a teacher who teaches disciple, but yet he himself doesn't practice what he teaches, and he just asks the disciple to do this and to do that and to go here and there and do this practice, that practice, but he doesn't abide in his practice with what he teaches. So this is a very dangerous situation. It's like mixing this with poison.
Oh, yeah. 더 되는 거 보시도 잘하지. 단 되네만 돈도 재고요. 다 망보지 해사를. 언데서 강으로 돈도 재니. 다 돈도 돼. 남들 라자 남로래 돈도 야고지도. 다가 내신 남리 전부 나게 돈도 요래. 남리 전부 돈도 요래. 다 담보 알레 남들 라자 나게 돈도 뒤셔배이나. 다 돈도네. 냐마 셰제는 고신년 된수네 손데. 와리 신년 된수 마제 공래 아니지 최셰베 갑래 간데스 제고고요. 년배 갑래 간데스 제고 수이 제다 셰비 줄어서 원데서 망보지 셰차를 다 이제 네 단단데 남로 라장데 일하니들의 마도 연다돼서 간걸로 장주 용남라 때네 아니 남로 라장데마 시기 전에 원도스 셰요. 망보지 셰요. 오이샤바도서 간걸로다 람링게 간로 수직 람링 간로 수직 법니 아니 돈도데 람리 간 돈도 줘. 돈도 줘고요. 된데 연단데 마 돈도 지지해기.
So now this is enough for the four means of benefiting. Now we are at the point of the summarized meaning of what is being explained. I have explained so much over the last few years. I've gone through the entire Lamrim more than once, and we have covered the liberation of Lama Dorje Chano, Kyabje Paponka Rinpoche, and I've explained that also based upon the swift path, that is another Lamrim. And you all have the translations of this text at the end of the Lamrim Chemmo, of the great exposition of the stages of the path, at the end of the liberations and so forth. There is a section of the summarized meaning of all that is being explained. You should put some effort and read through and think about. In general, why it is beneficial, the summarized meaning, because it kind of pulls together all the meanings that you've been taught about. For instance, beginning from the very beginning, the actual way of the greatness of the teachings of the Lamrim, the way of listening to the teachings, the way of teaching and leading the disciple, the qualities of the disciple, the qualities of the Lama, and so on and so forth. All this meaning, you should be able to summarize it in your mind, in your meditation, on the basis of any of the Lamrim practices and texts that are around.
So do not Lamrim do to ya. Lamrim, that thing you get now do to ya. Yundanji do my son of Dan and Lamto not song the son of a tendeganani to do to ya. Any party tramna, any purchasing energy 퍼친제 우마래 아니 우마래 나라마고 요래 퍼친래 나라마고 요래 퍼친제 우마제 아니 도와제 저제 아니 남래제 보딩알이야 보딩알 파트람토 받아 아니 된데 마토나야 아니 지 람린 참모기 처치지 디 냠nen데서 아니 지 디나네 연대지기만 나노 두두가다 된데 주고요
No, no,
된데 마조나 리야 말이
no.
아니 다바리시 흉 참모 장자 상로 당게 되나 아니 아니 냠냠 줄래 제베 두서지 가보지 그래 네 연상 랑게 냠내지야 두두지냐 두두지제 아니 양 자치 뭐 바람나 짬표초제 내서 강로에 로링에 등이제 된대지 정나 야와야
Ideally, once you have received the teachings on the Lamrim, or the entire Lamrim, you have listened to the teachings, you have reflected upon the teachings, you have studied, you have the text, you should be able to summarize the meaning of all the teachings on the basis of a very short text. That is the basis of your practice, because you are able to summarize a very vast amount of meaning into very few words. Something like a text like the foundation of all the good qualities of Rinpoche, or the three principles of the paths, or the songs of experience, and so on and so forth. This very short lamri. That means that the words are not many, and yet you are able to bring in it, to summarize in it a very vast meaning. And in the same way, you should be able to expand all the meaning through the 5 great texts, such as Parchin, such as Abhisamaya Alankara, Madhyamika, Vinaya Sutra, and the Abhidharma, and so on and so forth. And then again, you should be able to withdraw and summarize all the meaning on the base text, on the base of a short text for your practice. Because if you just rely exclusively on the vast scriptures, and you don't summarize that meaning on a very short text, you're not going to be able to do much practice, because there is too much. There is too much to read. There is too much to learn. There is too much to practice. So you should be able to expand the meaning that you've learned and you understand on the basis of the great scripture, and then again summarize that meaning on the basis of a short text.
Niene chola tabe lam denji taba rangla rali xeba jas. Dio somba na xinchani. Niene chola tabe lam denji taba rangla rali xeba jas. Xeba jas. Xeba ji son. Dio somba na xinchani. Ta nyama. Shu jeba deso kangalo tsuji domji jebni. Ani 초토직 나로리 초토 차가지게 나로리야 아니 강가로 dom지 잡네 초루루지 조고야 로로 조고야 단된데네 당야만 쉬어봐도 강가로 치 시추 장도 마샤바체 시추 장도 마샤바체 냠내리아 강토 지토기 코 냠내 강도 주디토 고야 냠내 강.
And because you have listened to so many teachings, It is as in the what Buddha said, I am here to show you the path to liberation. It is for you to achieve it. So that means that all the teachings you have received, you have received, you should put them into practice. Never leave even a single word of the teachings you listen as mere word that you have listened. Try to gain an understanding of that meaning that is implied with that words, and put that into practice, into your mind as much as possible.
chaba chamba mangbo ji yore, tende yansan, chikban chaba chu yon tuku maare, nyeken de si cha gore se na. Ben chaba ji cha chaba yina, tsomba tsogi, ane ji, ane tada chayala soba tende tenne rogu roba. O tende rodu, 아니 다데 강칼로 쿠치빠르지 저샤나 잡로리 케야디 찍빠르지 체효 냠바르지 저샤나 다 조보조조 도서기 켜두고 말 조보다
손바서디 타는데
다데 텐데 때는 로그로 방에마
랑랑스
다데도 텐데 때는 로그로 로드 아니 강갈로리야 아니 도보 찬양보 지전 아니 기기나 카셰기 초그래 카셰기 초그야 카셰기 초그야 이제 마초다 아니 소속이 유서도 템바 소속이 비기지 커탑다 총반다 커탑서 그러 커탑다 총바 유서도 템바는 거지 아니 도보 체중 망보서야지 아니 시슈시라 명예 그 다들 소리야 아니 도보 총한테 서기 아니 슉첨보 용액이 아니 다들 소리야 아니 도보 도세냥 받은 데기 게 아니 도서 된 로기 있나 아니 강걸로야 랑기 유서도 된배 아니 아니 소속 루도 쇼다 틈바지기 전에 아니 강갈로리아 지케야 여기 주소 두고요. 된난신 전에 나라도기 나라도 얘네 로 토메 망보시라요. 가시 갈라 강장게 비게 장주 선종가 담바제네 아니 지 자모동바니 그 전화서 받아서 갈라 강장 현대에 된데 망보요. 다가 내신 카시야 시라시라 미생에 된데 요래 아니 카시네 사바된데 다 대리는 손대 봐지 약호지 저기 상상전에 된데 용해 요르마 언제서 강걸로 다 튀마지 강걸로다 튀마지 강걸로도 참바기 아니 로람디나 타송 강가로다 튀마지게 아니 샹바지소.
Then, as far as understanding, the depth of the understanding of the teachings we were talking about, whatever we listen, we should retain it and practice. So that refers to the understanding of the teachings at the initial level of listening. That varies. We're all different in that. We are different because different predispositions. We are different because there are some for instance, among this assembly, some among you have strong Dharma imprints of having studied and practiced in the past. So when you receive the teachings, you get that extent. To that extent, your understanding goes. Some of you are totally new, And by just listening to the teachings, among those totally new, maybe some freshly or newly generated attitude of I'm going to be much better than I've been up to now, and so on and so forth, might be generated. And therefore some people, some other people, depending also on the sharpness of the faculties, whether you are very sharp faculties or intermediate sharp faculty or something like that. So depending on the level of your faculties, then the level of the understanding that you can receive from the teachings, it goes in the same way. It is the point is, you should be able to weigh the amount of to weight and to judge how far your understanding can go in dependence on your capacity to what you can actually retain. It is a little bit like if there is a convoy of chariots, and they're led by different animals. Some animals are very strong, some animals kind of weak, and you cannot load all the chariots with the same loads. Some of the loads they should be smaller because that particular animal is weaker than another animal. So the other animal who is stronger, you load it more. So in the same way, you cannot load everything in the same way. So in the same way, when we listen to the teachings among an assembly of people, of many people, the understanding differs from one another, independent of their capacity.
Kuraya, Tamadili Pagbe, Shenju River Reviunani, Ani Yang Shung Jamala over Tendelia, Ani Yang de Jecho, Ani Jetamba Jigribaji Yone, and Diliaji Ya Kala Tesangi, Ani Share.
And then I forgot to say, therefore, among you, there might be some of those people who have good imprints and have good study and previous study and experience in Dharma. They might be able immediately to put into practice all the instructions concerning the three principles of the path of bodhicitta and emptiness, really exactly as it should be. But that doesn't mean that everybody is able to do that. We all have different capacities. There is a way of classifying the capacities that is in lower, intermediate, and sharp or high capacity or faculties. So these three type of individuals, they're going to listen to the teachings in three different ways. They're going to be able to retain the teachings in three different ways and to practice the teaching in three different ways according to their own capacity. So the lowest one, he might be able only to take that much load that he can carry. Then there is the ordinary one, the one is like in between. It's not the lowest, it's not the sharpest. Okay, again, in accordance with that capacity, with his or her capacities, it's going to be able to listen and to practice the teachings. And then the sharpest type, then is able to really bring in everything that he or she receives.
Lord Rinpoche Tason Yeva Nankingi, Ani so Jishambachi. Lambri Bone, Lambri Jindi Duson, Lord Rinpoche Tason Yeva, so Mubata Sambe, Lambri Comba Yena, and Lambri Jindi Duson Compu. Oh, then the end of the
So therefore, you should know your capacities, and you should apply yourself to the extent of your capacities in order to understand and practicing the teachings. So that goes for, as I say, and which I repeats, that there are three levels. There is a sort of an initial level, an intermediate level, and a sharp level. So according to that, you take the teachings and you practice to that extent.
단데 나네 쪼쪼데 당보 알레 쪼데 가르 공부 그래. 가르 공부 그래서는 쪼 채워디 장초 그습니다. 투단기 티들 인생 장초 그습니다. 장초 그습니다. 되게지다 소속의 투단 되게 다지 고라 생기 향사의 장초 그습니다. 안에 향다 돼서 안에 신의 된주네 송대마 장주 선종고 봐도 아니 미리를 맡아야 돼서 강걸로 장주 선랑주를 제비 탑소 송.
So, that said, however, there is what is the most important thing to seek in the practice, that is bodhicitta. So that covers everybody, that is bodhicitta. Bodhicitta should be in your practice like cherished, like the very essential drop in your heart, like the very foundation of your mind. That is to say, that means that whatever are all the other meditation, the gradual meditations of the path, beginning from correcting and relying yourself to a spiritual guru, up to the union of karma abiding spatial inside, all these meditations are done with the aim of nourishing and achieving bodhicitta.
Tendeche. Dan denema yipsa jenema she yondu. Da jangchu gusim ranju le jevi chedo. Ani go xinye densu. Dambu xinye densu le. Xinye densu de su xinye de su yendo. Su yendo temba le dene. Dangden. Ani xinye gewi xinye de den. Temba tangdo mazen digi taliya chue shu ne di tende ane dambe tun teso nyamso lembe kwani an digi tende xinye di tende ane dambe teso nyamso lemba la tenne ane tun nyamso lembe kwani ane ane niwade 다진 조조성의 밀르름 버텐들이야 톱도 요래 전에 연산들이야 니무질 말렘바 탑히면도 상배지 내용이야
And you begin with the gradual meditations on how to rely yourself to the spiritual teacher. So you need to have a spiritual teacher, and at the feet of the spiritual teacher you receive the teachings. You receive the holy teachings, the holy words of the teachings, and those you need to practice while you are correctly devoting yourself, relying on in the correct way to the spiritual teacher. So you begin with this training, with this meditation, and after that you enter into what we call the precious human rebirth. Due to the reliance on your spiritual teacher, you come to know how fortunate you are, how precious is your human life, and how meaningful it can be. Nyabado
lemgobado nyabe ngane nyabado malena kyonchakaru ta yongdu ani tendi tenjog tendi yunrimbo meneba ani choni nyaba ani Shivi Jesu Mede Meroba Jevajini Nyabado Lengure. Ane Piana Nyanroli Jeva Yina Ane Digi Dunga de Zotugure Tugumare. Ondo Sama Sanlo Tanyondu. Do Sama Sanlo Tanyondu. Ane Tawa de Tanda Getiche. Ane Digandele. Ane 다공대 균림보 지점년 되건도나 아니 네가데레 아니지 Chivi Jesu Kang, Ani, Dendro Tangendro Ni, Dendro Tangendro Ni, Rosati, Yana Dendro, Yana Gendro, Kesi Gendro, Chava Yena, Ani, Nyawali Ya Sarang, Dung, Kanda Yava, Jipta, Jenimatra, Ani, Tusu Yuna, Tusu Nana Shagum San Chava Yena, Ani, Nyandro Jana Dunge, Ani, Muzava Yavati, Ani, Lam Sijite, Ani, Tilly Jobi Jabda, Tilly, and Tabi Tapin Dukam, Mendu, De. Ani, Tusu Yuna Jamne Kuncho Songi, Yundanda Javatusa Kangolo, Chazama, Sosoki Lola Kang Yavati, Ma Tentu Vache. Ani, Tusu Mendona, Ani, Tilly Javi Jabdi, Ani, Kunjoro. Sum Yamba, the Teletavi Tabde, and Tablendi Gelando. Oh, there's a Yamba, there's some San Lotani. Ani Tab the Soletane, Kesi, Ani, Teletavi Tab. Kesi Tab de Da, and La Beana. Nyandro meche tang chungyang, dendru tenlaya dungye yu. Pena mi lu ten tomne, jaga na chik dungye de, sanje me shabar. Doba ta trebe dungye, me de bata trebe dungye, debe ngobo tsyajang minye dungye la soba. Mi lu ten ju toba yena yang, dungye meba marwa, dungye doga. Ani chebe dunga te, chebe dunga te, nawe dunga ta. Ani chi... 제가 나 지금 동에 마음도 나 동에도 좀 되네. 좋어요나? 좋으시라면은 아니 멜리지 아니지. 덴드 때문에 아니 동에 매바 말이 섬네. 동에 유단도 손도 그래 섬네. 매 하려야 아니 동에 유단 Rama Yeli Dunge Yuta, Meli Dunge Yuta, Ani Dang Yanrolia Dunge Yuta, or Deso Kangolama, Yivta, Janima, Jami on to Ani Tutu the Tagi, and those who come capture.
So when you are in the process of, when you are actually meditating on the stages of the path, there might be two situations. One in which you have leisure and you can actually meditate on each of the topics, and one in which you don't have much time, but at least you have time to do a panoramic meditation or reflecting in a panoramic way on the entire path. However, if you are serious into meditating, so you approach the meditations, each topic really professionally, going in deeper as much as you can. For instance, we were talking about the precious human rebirth, how precious it is, how meaningful. Once you discover that, you also discover that this is not something that lasts forever, is actually extremely short. The life goes extremely fast, and it will definitely end sooner or later, sooner most probably. And when the life ends, is not an end that itself. You move on. You move on, and you are at a crossroad. When you move on, you either move on again on the so-called happy realms or rebirths, or you move on into the what they're called the evil gone, or the lower realm. And so when you meditate, if you do it well, you really go deeper and deeper. You come to discover that you move on, how you move on, and where you might be going. If you are going to any of the three lower realms, what it will be like being reborn as a hell being. What kind of sufferings are there? Hot sufferings, cold sufferings. Will I be able to bear those sufferings, even the thought of it? And then again, on the pretas and on the animals, you do that really in depth, analyzing each of them, putting yourself there in the first place and thinking, will I be able to endure such suffering, such conditions or not? And so at that point, when you go deeper and deeper and deeper, then you come to the point of how do I get out of this? What can I do to protect myself? And then you start to think about the refuge. So if you have time, all these things are done really in depth, one by one. When the moment of taking refuge, you have to come to know the qualities of the refuge, the distinction, taking refuge by means of qualities, by means of understanding the distinctions, and so on and so forth. All this have to, if you don't have time, obviously it's just a panoramic, it's like scanning through. It's going to be like this, is like this, like this, like this, like this. That's not actual meditation. That is called scanning or panoramic meditation. And then again, when you take refuge, there are the two causes, the fear and the faith. Those need to be generated. So again, Rinpoche repeats, if you have time, then you do this really in detail, in depth. You go over each of the topic until you're moved. Your mind is moved by that. You gain a definitive understanding. Otherwise, it would be just panoramic scanning on the meditations. And I forgot to say, also, while you're in the process of reflecting, of moving on to other life, you can reflect on the suffering of the three lower realms, and yet you come to reflect that even if you achieve again a human life, the human life that is so-called happy realms is full of suffering, isn't it? It's a non-stop situation of suffering. You begin with birth, you begin with then sickness, then aging, then death, and all the other shortcomings that come along by way of being human beings. So you come to understand that even moving on to a so-called happy realm is not that happy. Actually, it's only full of suffering. And with this, you come to know that no matter wherever you are reborn within cyclic existence, among the 6 types of lives, of rebirths you can take, there is only suffering. And that, with that understanding, you start to develop the wish for liberation, to free yourself from all of this. So once you are able to develop the wish for liberation, is at that time that you should consider that for that to happen just for yourself is definitely not enough, because all other sentient beings not only are just the same, in the same need as you are to achieve liberation, each of them has been your mother countless times. No, there's not a single sentient being out there who hasn't been your kind mother so many times. Therefore, you cannot just think about yourself. And that is the beginning of developing bodhicitta.
아니 senjan 탐제 랑기 파마제네 배디 다 진침비 권이 장바 다 윤리 럼볼이야 진침비 권이 제와 토만 매번이 단도 봐도 진지 장바리야 차샤는 배디 다 빼면서 진침부 장요래디 예나야 소소 아 제보 타왔단지 제 아니 내서 강걸로 요샤는 되게 면도 삼배 쓴데 단 대소 닝제 삼배 아니 닝제지 제토바지.
Therefore, when you develop the wish to achieve liberation, you cannot live it just for yourself. If you consider and if you understand how all other sentient beings have been your kind, so kind since beginningless time, it's almost inconceivable. The kindness that each of every sentient being has extended to you since beginningless time. Therefore, how can I abandon all of them and just in order to seek liberation only for myself? This is something that this kind of attitude, even on an ordinary basis in the world, just thinking about yourself and forgetting about everybody else, even in the way of the world, is not acceptable. Then much more, when now you're in the position of traveling to into the path and achieving the supreme enlightenment, so you should think, I cannot possibly abandon all my mothers who have extended to me such an unbelievable kindness since beginningless time, just in order to seek liberation only for myself. I'm not going to do that. So that is the type of attitude that should generate while reflecting on the kindness of the mothers.
코알레 탑단지기 아니 얘네 코알레 탑단지기 미쳐봐 아니 인간체 마다바 티센제 랑도 아니 조고 여자 다다네 티센란 아니 다다네 아니 티센란 조바지 티센제 랑도 조고 랑도 조토바지 좀나
So, moreover, just thinking about just seeking the liberation for yourself is not suitable in the faces of others, of all the others that are there, all your mother sentient beings, and not even from your own side, in order to achieve a supreme scope. That won't do it, because just the liberation for yourself from the cyclic existence, it doesn't mean that you have accomplished all your purposes. Far from there, eventually, even if you achieve the liberation, eventually you will have to enter into the Mahayana path and travel the path to achieve the Buddhahood. So therefore, why forsaking all sentient beings now just to be satisfied with the partial achievement for yourself, that later on anyway you should exit and again practice the Mahayana path, while now you can practice that, and while now immediately you can accomplish both your purpose and the purpose of all the mother sentient beings.
다 티센제 라도 조바 자발이야 조고디 컨디션도 따주 조고디 심제 코나리 심제 코나 임바도 통네 조고디 심제 코나 임바도 통네 언디 제비 탑소 아니지 아니 닝제라서 바테서 공부를 요이 삼아라.
And the way in which you enter in the Mahayana path is by focusing single-pointedly on all sentient beings, on others, developing on the basis of others, of focusing on others, developing a great compassion, a great love, and so on and so forth, bodhicitta. So that's the way in which you enter the Mahayana path, because of others, focusing on all others.
Generation Chanchu Kusania, Annie, and G. Nyon Nezin Zanji Tembe Kalia. Annie, Nyon Nezin Zamjut. Tambana. Annie Ranging Mene Senjen Jitando. Annie Yun Rimbo Kawachego Junaya. Zo took rete, Yenaya tea palia, Magan Senjano, Dunge now like Chemuzebi, and Chemuzebi, Janju just in Chavajan, and Majava Tamendo Sunday, and Domanian Denji Janju Senje.
Long.
Janju Dunian done.
So then while you are, if you seriously reflect on other sentient beings and how important it is for you to focus on other sentient beings and developing compassion and so forth, then it comes to a point in which you have some experience of compassion and love and bodhicitta, some experience, some initial drive. So at that point, you think, no matter how long does it take, no matter whatever difficulties I have to go through, I need to liberate all sentient beings. So that wish, the first wish, when the first wish in this way develops, so that is the wishing bodhicitta.
Yeah. Dan dene jang da senja tanje dungen je nawala musebe nyingje shuk trabu ane gu ne ane tekwa kwenju cho ane sanga ji lamli yan jong de yung.
So then you progress and keeping the focus on all the sentient beings. When you really generate this great love and the great compassion and bodhicitta, so that means you enter in the Mahayana path, that is the sort of the limits of you entering into the Mahayana path. So at that point, once you enter in the Mahayana path, then you are a suitable vessel to enter into the secret mantra.
Senja tanju nyo nido ane sanji ju koban tobi cheado ane so sanga doji tebi lamli ya ane shuyali ya ndoba chenpo chi je ne ane doji lobe senja tan tenpo chi ki zhong ne ane minje kong wang ye ane toba che.
So at that point, you have such a great compassion, such bodhicitta, that you want to be able to benefit all sentient beings as soon as possible. You cannot bear even to wait even a single moment to have that capacity to help them. So with that kind of motivation, with that kind of drive, in order to be effective in benefiting all sentient beings as soon as possible, then you enter the secret mantra path by receiving first the perfect initiation, the ripening initiation at the feet of a qualified Vajra master.
sojo lebe senye da denba yigi zhongne menje gwen hi toba che ani vesa de gyulu zondo gyube zonjuge nyeju ngoso zhu ondo si che.
And so you receive the four initiation, the ripening for initiation at the feet of a qualified Vajra master, and you apply effort in the techniques that lead you to generate what is called the illusory body and the clear light. Why don't we take a break for restroom? So,
gyulu zondo gyube zonjuge nyeju ngoso zhu. Di dingli ya di menje le ya jiren gomba so ni du ji cedong jigla melo be zongju ji gobang toba jebe ni du ji cedong jigla melo be zongju ge gobang toba toba ji ngeba tu je de toba jeba le ya di ngando 아니 대다기 예주 된제 회사당 다마다기 줄루도가 송원도로 제라 디니민제기 지린 라바단 타침바 제이 지린 라바단 지린 라바단기 원도당 디 응원도 구기 사변 탱해지 원기 나바다바지 도가고 원도스레 배 꼬라잖니 야 zonjuki koban patole ya henye tensune on de da zonjuki koban top tadu zonjuki koban deni ani de chabala tani gare yango henye tensula rali ba tone henye tensudi do se korajan on do se nyamso lenjure
the jargon som de
no jargon de do se
and so therefore at the feet of the qualified Vajra master you receive the 4 initiations and with the aim of that allows you to practice what is called the illusory body and the clear light. The illusory body, the 2 types of illusory body, the impure and the pure illusory body, and eventually achieve practicing the union of illusory body and clear light, and eventually achieving the final the union or no more learning, the Vajrasthara state. It is on the basis of the 2, the practice of the illusory body and the clear light, that makes it possible to achieve the supreme enlightenment, the state of the union, in a very short life of the degenerate time that we live now. In order to be able to ripen the fruition of the illusory body and clear light, you first have to progress through the practice of the gross and subtle generation stage. That is the foundation and the ripening factor that makes it possible for you to achieve illusory body and clear light, and eventually the union of no more learning. And in order to make that possible, you receive the 4 initiations that are like the seeds of the 4 bodies, or the four bodies of a Buddha. And again, from once you reach, so here what I'm explaining, it is a very vast panoramic reflection of meditation on the entire path. That is what you have to do when you do panoramic meditation. So you start at the beginning with the gradual meditations on correctly aligned to the spiritual teacher, progressing through the graduated path to enlightenment, bodhicitta, emptiness, and then you reflect on entering into the supreme, secret mantra by way of receiving the four initiation, keeping the vows and commitments and samayas pure, engaging in the practice of the gross generation stage, subtle generation stage, entering in the completion stage with the practice of a clear light and illusory body, first the impure, then the pure, then the practice of the union, and eventually achieving the union, and then you go back and you start again. In this way, you rotate your vast panoramic meditation on the Lamrim by going from the bottom to the top and from the top bottom down, and again revolving your reflection in this way. Whatever is being explained, all these realizations, all these achievements of the path up to the last one, they are all possible for one single thing: correctly relying on the spiritual teacher, on the guru, in the two means, by way of behavior and with the mind.
아니 주기 마대버체 사토사 휴도 아니 래나산데 아니지 비게 상놈지 줘봐 토사지 래나산데 아니 상수데 도네 신이 된수네 송데 rinji 냥오도 쇠버체 냥오도 뭐쓰고 봐도 아니 로장인데.
Therefore, at the beginning, you should not jump to very high stages as if you were able to practice, as if you were able to actually achieve those high stages. Do not do that. You have to clear away all those thoughts that pushes you to put into practice something that is too high. And you should start at the beginning with the correct way of relying on the spiritual teacher, seeking the first glimpse of experience of that meditation. When that happens, you move to the next one, seeking the glimpse of experience or that, and you move on in this way. First, you seek the glimpse of experience of each of them.
아니 줄에 제반도 냐데 아니 댕설람바질이야 냥오도 쓰바.
What is glimpse of experience? What does it mean? It means that while you're meditating on the specific topic, or whatever is your topic of meditation, while meditating over and over, you come to think, if I keep focusing on this subject, I might probably gain experience. If something is moving there, you feel like that there is something moving towards that topic, towards the experience of the topic. That is glimpse of experience.
Oh, that in the team. That did it take money. That Maranto Kankalo, Tsala, Manoa, Donga, Donga Tamba, Jimaneva, and Ditava and Jevi, June did it. Any Sangalia, Pachatan, Shajuma Juma, and the Shirvaina, Hajang Pamore.
And we should also consider that we are in a very, very special situation. We have met the teachings, but not just the teachings. We have access to the entire path, complete path of Sutra and Tantra without any omission. Therefore, under such fortunate circumstances, just being satisfied with merely placing imprints of the secret mantra in the mind is definitely not enough.
Tande, Tenda Yenta, Yedan Sanden Jason Kanyang, Roma Chiki, Tene, Lan Chito, Jirinda Dorininki. Nielia. Niere Shanto Shagon Redi Jeju Jona, and Kawatambo Hira Jomure.
Therefore, a way of making yourself fortunate is that of, while on the basis of the practice of the common path has been explained, you engage in any of the practices of the three main deities, such as Guisamaja, Heruka, or Yamantaka, and at least every day do a scanning meditation of that entire path of the generation and completion stage. If you're able to do that, even just scanning meditation, you'll be so fortunate.
Lam Chizoke Rimbaga Pado, Ani Delia Chi, Niere Shando, Ani Chi Sangon, Gonda Soba Tende Chumba Yena, Gonda Soba Tende Yomba Chumba Yena, Kansa Tene, Tamba Yonso Soba Shagun Chevalin.
And if you're able on a daily basis to do a panoramic meditation starting from the very basis, that is the correct way of relying on the Guru, up to the generation and completion stage of the deity, it means that on a single person, an individual, that individual possess the in his mind on a daily basis the entire path. So he's extremely fortunate.
Ota tende chengegi, Kyabje chengeji yobe yena, de lamda bajali cha cha yena, lamda bajali cha cha yena, ane roji mantabe. Tadi langa nyetsar, langa nyetsadu lang de mano vajani, chimba yena zunjugi salia, lema lelia, tesumya.
So if for such individual who's able to recollect on a daily basis in the gradual way that are outlined and explained, all the meditation of the path from the Guru devotion up to the union of the highest Yoga Tantra, so that individual has found the way. It is like the way, is like a road that you have to travel on. That individual has found the way, has found his road, and that is a totally unmistaken road, and that individual will not have any doubts on how to proceed or where to go, and sooner or later will reach his destination.
Tenda yenta sanga ki lam rimba nyi sedu dande jirin to dori nyi sungu yore. Sanga ki lam rimba nyi li ya ani tsu kento yabo jimbegi yina, yabo ji nyamsa langi yina, ani yu tang zhubshen ji shungni xebe, ani toba cheba jen yu le je yin, ani rimbo mi toba jawa ensaba yapse nang yin. And
such individual will be able to enter correctly the secret mantra with all the qualifications. And by entering correctly the secret mantra with all the qualification, he will achieve those amazing results and realizations as clearly explained in the root explanatory tantras and in the biography of the great Mahasiddhas. That individual will be able to become in the likes of the omniscient Sapa and the spiritual sons, all individuals who have achieved the supreme union in one single lifetime on a single body.
Oh yeah, Tande Namre Lajan Genangi on the turn to the head house. Diane on the body. Long range and turn to the Terry Yoshana, some with 10 and should Shashana, and the young should Peru jelly. She had to announce something.
And so therefore I'm concluding here as far as the summarizing the path. I've done this today on the basis of the summary of the path as found in the Liberation of Lama Dorje Champa Ponka Rinpoche. I was thinking of doing that also on the basis of the great exposition of the stages on the path. But I'm thinking right now that in order to live an auspicious, that I can come again and teach that path again on another occasion. I'll leave it. I'm not going to do it now because we will do it later. So whatever I've explained during this time, I'm requesting Venerable George to go over again with you and clarify all the points that need to be clarified. Because my way of talking, sometimes I express things that are not very clear, and then also the translator, by his way of talking, expresses things that are not very not easy to understand. Therefore, they definitely need of some clarity over here, John.
Oh, did I? And then Georgie. So Necherando Leka Nenge de Soranda, Dianali Yone Yawayori, Leka Yova de Soni, that Legally Totos Timbore, Cavore Manto, Leka Nenge de Soranda, Yontune Yawado.
And obviously, I'm requesting all of you to participate to the session led by Venerable George in accordance with your leisure time. Those who have lots of leisure time, try not to miss anything. Those who have engagements and jobs and so on and so forth, obviously they need to do it by taking care of their schedule as well. And George, Venerable George, is a person of a good heart, and on the top of that, he's gone through lots of studies and inquiries. Therefore, is definitely qualified to do that. No, George is worth of Venerable George for those who are new or coming to be relied upon as a teacher. Those who are able to practice well the correct way of relying to the spiritual teacher.
Lotu Saba Mambo, Yang Mama Shimba Mambo Lesha, or Tinde Yanti Sandu Tsuyo, Yanto Sapatam Domindo, Yanta Tsuyongindo, or Tinde Yongutuanti.
And I see that this center, the Land of Medicine Buddha, is progressing very well. I see lots of old disciples, they're all coming at the teachings, that's very nice, but I see also lots of new faces. That means we have a new wave of new students. that they're mixing in with the old students, or these are nice. And not that I have much more to say. And we end it now then. Sape gewa dit tendan roa kula gampendan kepara jetsun nozan trapa tembe nyimbo rindu